It is time for the bank run. All debt who are outstanding have to be repaid at a certain time in money. There's three ways how this can happen. The bank run always happens at the moment that the chip goes to the circle. There's three ways in which the chip can go to the bank run circle. When all of the gold has gone because all of the players have earned too much money, then directly the first chip goes to the bank run meter. If at the beginning of your turn all of the 5 places for the finance cards are taken, then you don't take out the new finance card, but instead you move the Bankrun marker 1 place further. And what mostly happens is that it happens because of a dice roll at the end of the turn. For example, now it's the tulip plus 20. So now we count all of the credit which is on the tulip housing blocks of which players have more than 20. So here 1 player has more than 20, here 2 players more than 20, 3 players have more than 20, 4 players have more than 20 credit outstanding. So the banker marker moves 4 places. 1, 2, 3. Alright, now we stop counting. The extra 4 doesn't count anymore because it's at a B, and the B means bank run. Bank run means that all players have to take the credit that lies on the place where, in this case, the tulip is, have to take it and put it in front of their vault. We see that for these players, all of the players need to be repaid. The yellow player must repay 30, the purple player must pay 25, the orange player must pay 27, but the blue player, he has already promoted, so he only has to repay the debts on the left hand side. The others can still later. The tulip is on the left, so the blue player only pays off these 20. All players place their credit in front of their vaults. Next to their credits, they repay all of the gold that they need to repay their credit. If you don't have enough gold, then you play as much gold as you can. You cannot keep gold in the back. We see that the orange player has enough gold to repay. Also, the blue player has enough gold to repay all of his credit. The purple player, however, he is short for 5. He has a payment issue of 5. And the yellow player has a payment issue of 15. He is 15 short. He has to repay 30, but he only has 15. For starters, we start with all players who don't have any issue with repaying their debt. We see that the blue player, he can repay 20. So the credit of the blue player goes back to him. The money that he uses to repay goes to the center. Because the blue player repaid more than 20, he moves up 1 credit rating. The credit that he has outstanding, it promotes with him to the next credit rating, to the credit rating number 3. All of this outstanding credit, he can remanage. He can put it all in one housing block, but he can also distribute this credit, like this. Next, the orange player. Orange player has 27 credit outstanding and he can repay 27. 27 is more than 10, but it's not more than 10 plus 20, which would be needed to promote another place. If the orange player had 3 extra debts and he could repay that as well, then he could also move to further places. For now, he paid more than 10, so he moves 1 place. The money that he used to repay goes to the center. The credit that he repaid, it goes back to his own pile. The yellow player, he has a payment issue of 15. He has 2 means to repay his outstanding credit. Either he pays with gold of another player, or he pays it with credit from a bank without payment issues. Blue and orange are solvable. The purple player is in payment issues, so he cannot borrow from him, but he can borrow from the blue and orange player. The orange player has the one card, which is of the same of the water guild, and the yellow player has a guild, a card of the same guild. So the orange player bids 15 credits in exchange for the finance card of the yellow player. The yellow player accepts the bid, and so the orange player uses his credits to pay off the debt of the yellow player. The orange player can decide himself where he places it. In exchange, the yellow player gives him his card. If the yellow player did not accept the bid, then the yellow player would degrade. He would go down to prison. When you're in prison, your debt goes back to the board, and instead of earning money by selling goods, you repay your debt. But since the yellow player has accepted the bid of the orange player, now he can still promote in credit rating with the amount of debt that he repaid himself. He had 30 credit outstanding in total. 15 of this has been repaid by the orange player in exchange for his card, and the other 15 he paid himself. 15 is more than 10, so it means that the yellow player promotes one place to credit rating number 2. Finally, it's the purple player's turn. Purple player now has 3 banks from whom he can borrow money or credit. The purple player could repay 20 himself, but he still has a payment trouble of 5. The purple player tells, you know what? You can get 7 credits from mine if I can get 5 credits from yours. Now, the yellow player says, yes, that's a good bid. The yellow player, at this moment, can pay off other people's debts. He now has no payment issues. So the yellow player uses his credits to pay off the purple player's debt. As a thank you, the purple player gives him 7 in return. So the yellow player has immediately earned 2 in interest. The purple player pays off his debt, and since he paid off 20, 20 is more than 10, he promotes to the next ring. Also for the purple player, it's the same. If he did not pay off his debt, if he did not make a deal with one of his fellow players, he would have degraded and he would end up in the debtor's prison. When you're in debtor's prison, you cannot bid on the cards that are in the beginning. How it works exactly, it's all written in the guidebook. Now, it's the end of the bank run because no player has a payment issue outstanding in front of his vault. The yellow player now has 7 credits from the purple player, and the yellow player can use the purple player's credit to buy cards. And then, if he does this, he places the purple player's credit in the purple player's ring when he spends credit. Now we've had the whole bank run. We have seen how the bank run starts. We've seen when you start with deciding how much credit you must repay. Everybody who can then promotes in credit rating. Everybody who has payment issues then can negotiate with people who are with others if they can repay their debts. Then everybody who can then promote. Everybody who cannot get a deal with an older player has to degrade in credit rating. In the next video, we will watch how the game ends. After the last bank run, the bank run that you decided in the beginning, then the game ends and we decide the winner by looking up who is the richest banker.